Hey there, Blue Rockers. Connie Willis here. We are back with bluerocktalk and Crypto Connie. Tonight, we have launched, I love it, the actual first complete decentralized internet. It is called dWeb, Distributed Web, put together by Jared Rice Sr., who's taking a little break right now. He'll be back. But we do have Stan the Man here, and hopefully our sound problems have gone away. I want to thank those of you that are here tonight. Thank you to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for putting up for that sound problem. Darn it, but you guys more than anybody understand technical difficulties. I know you do. Let me tell you how frustrating that is. But that's where Jared promises, hey, I'm going to make it easier for you, Connie. So holy cow, look what he put together. I think he could probably do it. I'm going to keep on him for it. I'm going to keep on him for sure on that one. So I'm going to bring in Stan the Man here, who had a wonderful rant earlier. I hope that you guys got to hear that. If not, we're going to make this a part 1 and a part 2. Stan, that was great. It really was. I heard a lot of crackling along the way. It didn't matter because you were saying some good things, and people, even though that happened, people were cool and saying, hey, we'll hang. So I again, thank you. That's a true blue rocker for sure. Now we are, something else that is really cool is we are broadcasting on my YouTube channel, Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. That's where the actual live chat is. But also on my Facebook page, my personal page, and then my Connie Willis page, my Blue Rock Talk page, one of my Twitters, I don't remember which one, and also dLive. So we're out there with dLive too. Now, if you guys can remind other people to refresh, that will help, and it will get everybody back again, because we want to take your questions. And when you do give your questions, put them in all caps, okay, so that we can see them. If you've already done the questions, keep in mind, it's going to be way up there, and I'm not going to see them. So, Stan, let me ask you about all this stuff. Here we go. This new web, I mean, the decentralized web. Now, you've done your rant earlier, but how do you see this with bitshares and the bitshares dynasty?
Well, you know, what I view, and we revealed recently in the past couple of days, the identity of one of the 4 horsemen of bitshares. The 4 horsemen of bitshares are a metaphor that I'm using, drawing out of the book of Revelation for the imagery. But Jared is the fiery red horse, the second horse that comes out. There are 3 other horses that we have not revealed yet, but as I said, he who has Crypto Connie show has extra clues, and so naturally we want to stick a little bit more in there. So even though this is the show about the fiery red horse, I will reveal the identity of the other 3 horsemen at this time. Of course, people have been guessing out there. One of them is CloudCoin. Another one is Stealth Grid, and a third one is EOS. I'll let you figure out which is which from the other clues that we have. But each of those is doing something that benefits bitshares. Okay, now we're decentralized in everything we do. And so we're talking about 4 separate teams doing 4 separate projects, pursuing their own visions, and not changing anything about bitshares core, which is run by the bitshares community, and they elect their leaders, and they make the decisions of what directions that's going to go. And they're very careful and conservative, because a whole lot of people are building stuff on top of bitshares, and we don't want to do anything that would cause backward incompatibility. So everything that we try to do is build things around it that will take bitshares in different ways, or give it new tools that it can use. And so this particular case right now, a whole new universe of safe places to put your content and your servers where they can't be interdicted. And we've seen examples of that happening. While Jared was working and putting out some of his previews of his content, there were people who wanted to stop him from demonstrating that he's in fact one of the most brilliant programmers that we have in this industry. They wanted to maintain the fiction that he couldn't program and couldn't produce anything, and that anything he did was not worthy of mention. And so they would do things to try to interdict his efforts. And so his efforts to put things out there on GitHub were met with people who got them taken down. These things, putting up several different servers on several different node providers, had the effect of somebody coming along and within 5 minutes of him putting them up and starting them running on a rollout test, all 3 companies took it down. Now that is not a coincidence, and that is not anything other than some central coordinator with authority to call up those companies and quickly demand that things be taken down. This isn't even peer pressure or community pressure, lots of tweets and everything, because this is somebody under color of authority abusing their power in order to stop Jared from producing free software that has nothing to do with digital currency. So it was something that couldn't even be, a fudgeslinger calling in and doing a lobbying campaign in order to make it appear that a lot of people objected, in order to get 3 different companies to summarily shut down those servers. So this was, in my opinion, a government operation, government abusing its power. And so this kind of stuff is what sort of started Jared thinking, how can he provide resources out there that cannot be interdicted by people who are abusing their power? And of course, we see that kind of thing happening in many different forms. The whole story with Alex Jones and what's been happening to him is a coordinated attack. There are a lot of different companies engaged in the attack right now, but somebody's coordinating it. It's very clear, and encouraging more and more people to rabble rouse and cause trouble. So that seems to be the modus operandi of a certain type of villain out there, or multiple kinds of villains. And this is what happens whenever people abuse power. Other people with technical ability, like Jared's, innovate to find solutions to prevent that from happening. That's why Bitcoin was made in the first place, as a decentralized system, and that is why his decentralized internet is there as a solution that he's giving away free to everybody, allowing other people to build on it. There's no ICO. There's nothing that he's doing to collect money. There's no possible way he could be scamming anybody. And he's doing a tour de force of his programming skills and his managerial skills, leading a team of other people who are like-minded. So that's kind of what's going on. BitShares, I expect, will benefit greatly from having eventually the option to have its nodes and other resources on a decentralized set of servers that can't be taken down, and other possible places where its websites and its other companies that build on top of it can build and extend the decentralization to be more decentralized than it is even today.
Well, he's back, so we can ask him while he is here. Jared, so we were talking about the benefits of BitShares and the BitShares dynasty on dWeb. I love it. dWeb. It is so funny. It reminds me of the old Fantasy Island and dplane, right? Come on. You guys all thought of that, right? So dWeb. So how is the BitShares dynasty going to benefit from dWeb?
Well, I think in our earlier conversation, we aside from blockchain, I think it's important to, at the very minimum, get these websites for Bitcoin and BitShares, Ethereum, all of the big ones off of HTTP, or keep it there, but also put it on the dWeb to where even the website's decentralized, right? I think that's very important because, look, these files, these softwares that these developers have built can disappear in a second. I mean, Microsoft just acquired GitHub. You don't know what their policies are going to be. As you can see in Silicon Valley, they can make policies overnight, shift the game, and all of a sudden, all of that software is gone, right? It's disappeared. And again, that's because, well, before I get there, we have not truly decentralized what we're doing yet. Decentralization goes beyond the wallets. It goes beyond the blockchain. I think where does it start? It starts at the website where people find you. Can Twitter ban Bitcoin's profile? Well, absolutely, they can ban Bitcoin's profile. Now, you could say, well, they're not, using hate speech or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, they can come up with anything to ban anybody. They have terms of service. They have policies in place where they can delete everything that you have. I know several people by chance that some have lost 10 to 15 years worth of work. I mean, Connie, imagine losing every single thing you've ever done and every newspaper in the world talking about it, and, people making fun of you and lying about you. And here's the worst part about that. They lie about you. And as a person who may not know you, I'm thinking, okay, well, I want to go research if this is true. Well, I can't. Why? Because it's all gone. Like it never, so.
Oh, they've been erased.
Yes,
gone.
Yes. Unpersoned, as Mark Dice says.
Unpersoned.
So, yes,
it's
right
even,
out of 1984.
Even worse than that. One of the things that's most valuable is other cross-links to your content. Okay, so you spend an entire career getting people linking to you from everywhere, so that you get the search engine benefits.
A lot of work.
And someone comes along and pulls that plug out from under you. They just destroyed everything your business built. It is a form of vandalism. Okay,
yes.
I'm convinced there's going to be lawsuits over this. You can't just come along and do something arbitrarily. Suppose I have a hospital and I have a lot of expensive drugs in there, and the power company comes along and says, we don't like your politics, we're pulling the plug. And you have 5 patients die because their machine shut down, and you lose all those expensive drugs, and everything in your hospital is destroyed. You don't think there's going to be a lawsuit out of that? You can bet there will be. Well, so it'll take a little time, but these big companies are opening themselves up for one hell of a lawsuit because of the vindictive and intentional, deliberate destruction of other people's property that was entrusted to them. And I just can't wait to see these big companies all in court. It's going to be great.
Well, I'm going to add something to that, Stan. Obviously, I don't know if it's a blessing or if it's a curse, but I spend a lot of my day with attorneys and have for quite some time now. It's become kind of a ritual for me. So, attorneys from a lot of different things now because we're so involved in the landscape.
And Jared, that's incredible that you are still at the spirits that you have, to have a spirit like you do right now, to launch what you did tonight after all these attorneys and guns in your face and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, just want to say that, we're glad that you hung out and, created something like this. You took advantage of stay home, you're stuck, so you're with mom and dad and you're going, sneaky little thing. I love it. Good for you. Well, good for you.
This time around, I had witnesses watch me 24/7 build what I built. So that was good too. But I'll say this: when a company comes in, Michael, like I have, Michael X, we've had digital marketing companies in our lifetime at some point, and digital marketing has been a big part of my life. And I can say certainly that companies invest a lot of money into their social media presence. And if I'm a guy who has a news website and I may be selling herbal products or whatever what have you, or if I'm an attorney per se and I'm advertising on this social network, in your mind, you think, this is my page. In fact, when you tell people to go to it, you call it my page. Go to my page. That's because in some ways you believe you own that page because you have bought that page in a way with your time, your money, and so what happens is these companies, almost like landlords, without an eviction court, are coming in and just saying, somebody in our back office without any sort of arbitration has come in and said, we think you violated our rules. And here's the point that attorneys are making to me and to others. It is not the job of an employee in Facebook's back office to determine what terms and conditions say. That is the job of attorneys and courts to determine what a terms and conditions states. and these privacy policies and these other things that they use. It is not, for somebody in that office to read what somebody says and say, I believe that this has violated this legal contract without any sort of bar card or licensing to be an attorney is ridiculous. Nowhere else in the world could you get away with deleting somebody's entire life or their business, without going to court for it. I can't tell you to get out of my property without going to court for it, and I better cite a pretty good reason for doing so. The other side to it is when you make an investment, I think I'm pretty familiar with that word after the last 6 months. An investment is a word that the legal system takes very strongly. And obviously we've got regulatory agencies like the SEC and others who oversee that word, not just what goes on around it, but they have mastered how they pursue things around that word. In fact, it's such a blanket word in most of their laws that they can pretty much pursue anything. So the question now becomes for me, and really where I stand, is all of these people that have been banned off of social media that have invested, $1 million or $100,000 into advertising on these platforms and building up these platforms. When I go and do a TV commercial and I bring your platform 20,000 users, I deserve some credit, not a delete button, or I at least deserve the amount of respect to bring this in front of somebody that can arbitrate the situation.
Hey, the time investment as well is huge. It's huge.
Yeah, well, that's like the most underappreciated thing is people's time, right?
Oh,
I mean, if you've ever been a web developer,
that's all we have.
If you've ever been a web developer, people don't care about other people's time. I've had so many situations in life where I'm working on somebody's project and it's, oh, you're not doing this or you're not doing that. People don't respect the amount of time that it takes to do things. And then what is so hypocritical about it is developers at Facebook who have experienced this in their own life, every developer has, then turn the tables and then disrespect somebody else's time when we know it better than they know that as good as anybody else, or better than anybody else. And so there's major legal issues, like Stan said, there are major legal issues with what they did. The problem is I'm not an attorney and I don't represent those people. But what I certainly do is I represent a vision where, I think everybody deserves to share their opinions, regardless of what those opinions are, right? And, you talk about my resiliency in this case. I get that resiliency from spending 10 years, maybe 12 years of my life in the projects. So I have family members that are openly gay. My brother's openly gay. I don't agree with a lot of the things that certain people say. But just because I don't agree with them, right, does not give someone the right to delete their entire, portfolio of work off of the internet, right? Because, Kanye West said it the other night on Jimmy Kimmel, it's really all about love, right? And I literally just said this on Twitter. You got to love and accept everybody and everything. And hopefully, if we all act that way, it really will pass over as an example to others. And Stan said it actually at the beginning of this show, treat others the way you want to be treated. It's one of Jesus's #1 teaching principles. And, I feel bad that right now to close that it's, we're going to ban Alex Jones for hate speech, and then we're going to go on Twitter and talk hateful about Alex Jones. That is the biggest hypocrisy.
That's interesting.
And so I think that we've got to, it's not just about the dWeb, it's also about us as people, as humans, coming to a consensus on the fact that we're not all perfect, and we all make mistakes, and we all say things that we probably shouldn't say from time to time. But there is no reason, that when I'm wrong or I say something that's wrong, especially if I'm in the business of being a conspiracy theorist or questioning the ideologies that are of the norm, there's no reason why when I make a mistake in that department, and this, Connie, because you're around this, there's no reason that I should be punished to the level of losing my entire portfolio of work. And so I think dWeb helps in that regard a lot. And then, the second piece of that, then you get, I just had another tweet, which is a really good point. we don't want people to be bullied, right? We don't want child pornography floating around the dWeb. We don't want illegal content floating around the dWeb. You know, how do we stop that? It's not even a money question. It's a priceless question. I've got a son, so I have a lot of personal feelings towards those scenarios. But how do you do it without controlling, people, and without, censoring people, right?
Yeah, we had a discussion earlier, right, where I got stand up in arms. Because what I was looking at is, okay, I know I've been in situations where just recently, I'll say the story again, where I had bought a program to learn more about YouTube and branding. I wanted to learn about branding and how to get the deals with branding. So I've done a lot of deals along the way, never knew how to do those. And when I got to that part of the section of it, they were talking oral sex. And I paid a lot of money for this program to learn. And now they've given me my money back and everything like that, thank goodness, but it took a little bit. However, and I told him, I said, look, there was no disclaimer. You didn't tell me. At least tell me so I'll know, there is going to be oral sex in here. Well, okay, I probably don't want that because I'm looking professionally at this right now. This is what I don't want to pay for that. So I had said out there, hey, you think we can have something called a courtesy option. I came up with a name afterwards. A courtesy option where you can say, hey, this is going to be here and this is going to be here. If you don't like it, move on. Don't come here and hate me for what you don't like. Like me, I'm going to talk about UFOs. I'm going to talk about Bigfoot. I'm going to talk about cryptocurrency. If you don't like any of that, that's all right. See you later. Bye. That's all. Or even say something nice like, it doesn't always have to be negative, right? It can be, hey, we do a lot of cooking over here. I'm Chef Connie. So if you don't like good food and, wonderful money shots, then go somewhere else. It can be like that too, an option, not anything that you're forced to do. But I like the one thing that we were talking about earlier, STEEMIT has it, where it tells you, maybe not to look at it at work. What is that again, that warning?
Yeah, not safe for work. NSFW.
I love it. And it's an option for you to do that or not. I love it because I just don't want to stumble upon something and go, what?
I mean, I'm going to say, I agree with you on that, right? There's content that's not suitable for certain people or suitable to watch in certain places. And I agree there. There was a guy in, I think, Stan's chat earlier that said that, this is like the internet of the free market, right? The free market of ideas, the free market of this. So the thing is, being that it's based on peers, right? If I'm uploading child pornography on, the dWeb, people know if they peer that they're now implicated in hosting child pornography. So I think that in a way, being that it's being peered, I don't think people will have the guts to peer it, number one. Maybe they do, because then if you look at BitTorrent, it does happen, right? But here's the problem is that our network's not anonymous. I don't believe in people having the ability to be truly anonymous, maybe with your money or with blockchain related things. But with this, the web is all about personalization. We are personally on the web. I don't like it when somebody can go into a Telegram room with a fake name and totally destroy somebody's life or create fake accusations around people and have nothing that can come back on them for doing so. I think it's just ridiculous, especially when it costs hundreds, if not thousands of people their hard-earned money, right? And so I have a bone to pick personally with that concept, and I can tell you how it can go wrong in a very, very bad way. And I'm sure I have a lot of people on my side that would agree with that. So we're not anonymous. So know that. I want to say that publicly because, I am not going to be okay with people selling narcotics and uploading child pornography on the dWeb. Now, can I do anything about it? No, but I will assist in finding out who's doing it because I don't believe it's acceptable. And I don't mind talking about it.
Jared, this is such a big, big, big deal. And you have ahead of you a big, big responsibility because I do believe this is going to do very, very well. you are going to be the head of all that. I don't know if you can do anything else. However, you do about 18 things at the same time, and I don't think sleep is in your vocabulary. So I don't know how you do it all, but you do. But there's going to be a lot to this where you're going to have to make a lot of decisions. However, you do have an experience background where you're like, okay, I've been there, done that for real. So I can do this or this or this. You didn't start this when you were maybe 13 and didn't have an experience. You already had experience at 13 because of your past. I mean,
Right.
you've had some tough times. It's not over yet, but now you've put this in front of you, and there's going to be a lot. I know, Stan, you wanted to say something there, so go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, I'd like to do a little thought experiment. It's, once again, I'm trying to process through these shocking things that have happened and conclude what's going on. And so it works sort of like this. First thing I do is, excuse me a minute, I'm going to get it.
Go, I need my sound effects where I could go,
Yeah,
gil.
No.
Oh, look, he slobbered and everything. Come on,
Slobbered and
Stan.
everything.
Come
All right.
on.
You need to edit this out. We aren't doing this live, are we, Connie? Okay.
No.
My first point would be that things should be voluntary, and it's up to the consumer to decide what content they want to have or not. The producers need to be free to put it out there, and the consumer needs to have the ability to pick and choose. My example earlier today talking to you was liver and onions, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. A person should not be shut down for serving liver and onions in his restaurant.
I don't know. Wait a minute. Maybe that's an exclusion. No, Stan. Maybe that one we say that they can. It's an organ. Darn it! It's a freaking filter. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So the idea of coming along and what's happening in the Alex Jones case is not people saying Alex Jones sought me out and forced me to listen to what he has to say. No, they don't want other people to hear what Alex has to say to them. They want to deny other people the right to consume what Alex is producing. That crosses the line. Now, then I get into the next level of the thought experiment to say, is it appropriate for someone to offer a service that says, I am filter of type A, okay? I'm going to filter out anything that has to do with this half of the political spectrum. You won't get anything like that. So come to my filtering service, and I will deliver to you only content that fits a certain profile, whatever it might be. And so I, as a little snowflake of a consumer who doesn't want to be offended, can go to that type of service and say, thank you so much for filtering out stuff that would offend me. I'm going to sit here in my warm little cocoon you're providing and consume only content that won't offend me. Great. Then you can provide that kind of service. Well, guess what? As soon as I admit that is a valid service, I have no defense at all to talking about Facebook or YouTube or somebody else deciding they're going to put a filter on the content they deliver. They have an absolute right to do that. Okay, as long as they announce it in such a way. Where they cross the line is in doing the offering of a service that other businesses have relied on, and then pulling the rug out from under those businesses without notice. Literally in 12 hours, take down notices and so on. That's very hard to recover all the things you've entrusted to their care. So that is the dastardly crime that these big companies have, of offering a service people have relied on and then pulling the rug out from under it. I'll give you an example of the degree of liability I think they're going to have. I have a little hardware store down in a small town, and out in front of that hardware store is a sidewalk, okay? And by having that sidewalk out in front of my store, I'm inviting people to use the sidewalk and walk on it. Now, if I don't maintain that sidewalk in the winter, if it gets icy on it, and somebody comes and walks along on my sidewalk, presuming that that sidewalk is going to offer me a reliable service, and I slip and break my neck, guess how many lawsuits there are every year where people get big judgments against the companies who didn't keep their sidewalk from being slippery. Okay, There's a deep liability for offering a service and not providing quality and having somebody get hurt on it. Now, imagine that launched on steroids if I'm sitting there with my sidewalk and deliberately putting down ice, spraying it and cultivating a skating rink and getting my little Zamboni out there and running back and forth on the sidewalk till it's lit ice and having it there so people can come and be certain of slipping on it. How much more are they going to be done for willful negligence or even intentional harm? And now imagine having done that, I stand out there lurking, waiting for somebody to walk by on my sidewalk, my icy sidewalk, and I give them a big shove. And they slide off and break their neck and everything. That is an intentional destruction of their property or health or well-being when they had every reason to expect a safe environment for keeping their property and their person. Okay, there. I have just laid out the plan that is going to bankrupt the companies that just did this to Alex Jones. It's going to make him a rich man. I'm not telling him what he'll do. I'm not giving him legal advice. I'm telling you the kind of argument that can be made by a skillful lawyer against people who deliberately destroyed somebody's business when they had every reason to believe that they were providing a service that they relied upon. These big companies that did this are toast, and you heard it here first.
Well, it's clear election meddling is what it is. I mean, it's clearly, you know, they're clearly trying to quiet only one political party. See, if they were quieting the others on the other side in doing it evenly, you wouldn't have much of an argument in that, just to say, hey, well, you know, maybe we just don't talk like this on this platform. The fact that it is 100%, not 98%, 100% conservative, when we have, I would say, Democrat celebrities who are saying things like they want to see Trump's son in a cage with a pedophile, and that person is still on Twitter and still on Facebook, is very abhorrent, and it's wrong. And so when you make it a conspiracy, you know, you do it to yourself, right? When you silence one type of group, right, you basically reveal that you are scared of their opinion, and you are scared of the amount of listeners that these people have in destroying or exposing your agenda. And so I think that that's where they get in trouble is, you know, right now we're investigating how Russia's meddling with the election, but I want to know how American companies are meddling with our elections and, you know, doing so through what I believe to be illegal censorship, or at least, at the very least, these companies are colluding with one another. And, you know, you're going to see a lot of lawsuits on that too. You know, tortious interference is not a game. And you talk to any attorney out there, they will tell you that, you know, Twitter shouldn't be on the phone with Apple and Apple shouldn't be on the phone with Facebook coordinating a takedown of somebody who, in all reality, look, these social media companies have replaced news companies. If you think they're not a competitor to Alex Jones, they absolutely are a competitor. So that is an interference in his business, and they did so as a competitor, which obviously shows malice. And you know, when you see these news agencies tweeting about it as well, it's pretty ridiculous. So
it's a Wild West all over the place, over the place.
Don't get me started on antitrust laws. Okay, they have formed a monopoly on access to the consumer. When you put those companies together, it is a functional monopoly. And when they start colluding together in order to silence somebody, to use their monopolistic power against a competitor, they are in violation of all the antitrust laws out there. There are going to be so many lawsuits over this stuff. If I were you, I would sell your stock in all those companies because they're going to be worth half by the time they're done.
Can you name those companies?
You know,
good thing or bad thing?
Well, before Stan says it, so we have a 24-part series that we're about to do about how the HTTP protocol is literally controlled by 20 companies. And, you know, the first parts of the series, we're going to, you know, share how they do it. And then each other part of the series, we're going to show each of the 20 companies. I think most people know the 5, you know, the main 5. You know, like Stan said, you know, I could take Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google, and I could function and live off of those 4. And they are a monopoly on pretty much everything. I mean, Amazon has pretty much bought up everything that we use. as far as retail is concerned, or what we would care about, right? So these companies, he's right, when they combine forces and they begin to place the hammer down, the point is when 5 of those 20 remove you, you are nobody, okay? And I don't know if you saw today, but Twitter then said the people who we were banning are trying to sign up for other profiles, right? And they're trying to get back on our network. You are not allowed on our network. Now, I get it. You know, if I kick you out of my house, I don't want you in my house, right? But the reason for these people not being in your house is not a good enough reason for me, personally. So, yeah, well, I think there's a lot of issues. Well, we're gonna cover those this week. So I think that's something a lot of people are interested in. But then again, you know, everybody is saying, hey, these companies can do this. They're private companies. Some people say they're utilities. Some people say it doesn't matter. They can do it anyway. The point is I think Stan may have been the first person to say this. I'm not sure. I think Stan said it. Just because the laws fit it doesn't mean that it is ethically right to use it. You know, if somebody's voicing their opinion to somebody and it's truly not hurting anybody, you know, what's the point of making this big issue out of it, right? I mean, you know, this guy who I know him, he has children, he has a family. These children have to go to school every day and experience how their dad's a racist, right? They have to go to school and hear all this. So when you're saying, hey, you know, we care about the kids, we care about all this, and then you're messing with his kids, you know, you got to have an even playing field here. But there's no even playing. I mean, it makes me scratch my head, honestly.
It's not even just on the internet and social media. It's like everywhere. You know, I've experienced so much in the past, I don't know, decade or so. It's not, you know, it's everywhere for sure. But even just interpersonal, where let's say you're at a business. I saw this, I couldn't believe it. You know, you got a manager. Let's just say there's a manager here and, you know, 2 employees. If this one employee goes to the manager and says something bad about this person who they don't like, and they go and say something bad to that manager, I saw over and over again where that manager listened to the person that came and told the story and already believed it to where they didn't even ask the other person their side of the story. They didn't think this one must be a bad person, you know. They didn't think somebody could be a bully or conniving or anything like that. And the good person that had did nothing, was let go. And I saw this continuously at a couple different companies. I couldn't believe it. Where are we not asking other sides? Why are we listening to what one person says and blowing it out of proportion? I mean, this is kind of everywhere. There's just so much hate and so much bullying everywhere.
You're talking to a guy who's lived that 4 times in a row through the criminal justice system. And all 4 times has been proven to be innocent. And as taxpayers, you know, you have to remember that our tax dollars are spent on these, you know, pointless missions to Mars. And, you know, they get suited up, they get everybody ready, and they get there and there's nothing there. And, you know, that's terrible, you know, for us to be so hateful to other people that we have to literally sit on Twitter and say, take this guy down, delete this guy. You know, CNN is sitting there saying, oh my gosh, Alex Jones's app just bypassed us in the App Store. He's way bigger than us, and we've got to get rid of him. So here goes CNN tweeting, Apple, take down this app. And you think to yourself, you know, my gosh, now competitors are tweeting companies to delete their competitors. Now, I want you to think about this. That has never happened before. I can promise you that this has just became acceptable in the last 7 days to do that. I can tell you right now.
To take them down, you mean?
Sure, yeah. I mean, if I was Walmart and I tweeted the people who have Amazon.com's domain name, and I said, and from Walmart's Twitter account, take down Amazon.com because they sell sex toys, right? Or they have a comment on their website that has words in it that offend me, right? There's something illegal about that. There is, I mean, you're lobbying another company to remove your competitor. And again, it's collusion in some sorts when they actually do it. right? When CNN tweets him and then 2 hours later they take down his website. I mean, what are you supposed to think, right?
So,
I mean, if I was that company, I would not do anything after I got that tweet, especially from someone as big as.
So you're watching Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis, Crypto Connie Tuesday. This is Stan Larimer, the godfather of BitShares, and that's Jared Rice Sr. You guys know him. He has just developed, and we're launching the dWeb, the distributed web, the first complete internet, decentralized internet, out of the live chat. And by the way, those of you out there right now, please hit that like button. I appreciate that. I hope you guys are enjoying it. You're sticking around and enjoying conversation with yourself and asking some things. So I hope that you hit that like button. And I'll just remind you real quick, thank you very much. And please share Blue Rock Talk as well. So Mike Crow asked, so are you saying we need to regulate the social media companies?
You know, yes. I mean, look, we're talking about people who are all about centralization, right? They're all about laws and policies. Why would they have a problem being regulated, right?
And well, Brute Better says, social media corporations use public internet lines. We paid for them. Why not hold them to constitutional law?
Well, I think that it's, I mean, look, I've talked to attorneys about this, so I want to keep this fair. I don't think that they're violating constitutional law. I want to be clear. I think they do have a right to delete anything they want to on a server that they own. There's no doubt about that. If I own a computer and you share a file with me, I can delete it. But when you throw in that other side of it, see, if I leave it like that, it's okay. But when I throw in this other side of, hey, that guy spent, if I walk in front of a judge and say, hey, they deleted this guy's profile, that's not fair, that's going nowhere with a judge. If I walk in front of a judge and say, they deleted this profile my client paid $250,000 for, well, now we have a conversation. Because now it comes down to, well, I have losses, judge, and I need to figure out if this was even, how can they even do this, right? So it's not really constitutional. I think it's criminal.
Yeah, I would go to say that I'm never particularly interested in seeing regulation be the first thing. Regulation is the antithesis of what I believe in. I do think we have to have laws against people doing malicious things to harm other people. Okay? I mean, that's long settled law that if you do something that causes harm to somebody, they have legal recourse to sue you to recover damages. Okay, these companies enormous damages on Alex Jones and others, and even government agencies. I wish we could sue them because knee-jerk reactions that cause panic in markets inflict great damage on people. What was done to Jared inflicted great damage on people who would put money into his care and may not get it all back. Okay, so there needs to be legal recourse when somebody harms you, especially if it's deliberate. And so that's why I think this is all going to get settled in the mother of all lawsuits. And man, I tell you, there's going to be perhaps the greatest transfer of wealth in human history over this event. I just can't wait to watch it, man. In fact, if you excuse me, I got to go get some popcorn because I might need to start munching it at any moment.
Hey, bring me some extra butter, please. A little bit extra salt on there, too. So you're watching Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. We are taking your questions. Put them in the live chat in YouTube. That's the one on Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis YouTube. And I am being able to switch over to DLive as well to see some of those questions in there too. Somebody had said, "Hey, Connie, get these folks on Coast." I'm like, I already had them both on Coast. That was cool. Wasn't this conversation though? Not at all. It was way before that had happened. Please hit that like button, you guys, while you're there, and thank you for the upvotes already. I love the fact that there is DLive, which is off of STEEMIT, Jared, and you get the cryptocurrency. So with dVideo coming up, and dBrowser and dExplorer and all the really cool dPack and dHosting and dBuilder, all these things for developer tools as well, is there for at least the consumers here too. Is there going to be a way for us, are you going to make it easy for us to use the cryptocurrencies with with the dWeb. I guess you got to do something special for that, but I think that would be so nice to make it so easy for us. Please, thank you very much.
Yeah, so let's talk about my role. I think it's important.
Okay. Okay.
And you know, it's something that, you know, I'm not just coming up with now, but I think my attorneys want me to share that role.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah. Then get to the user part for us, because people do want to know how to use it, which, by the way, has kicked off at midnight. So it's 1 minute after midnight.
Yeah.
So it's kicked off. Just saying.
No,
saying.
No, it's Central Time. Central Time.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Central
Got time. Okay, go ahead. All right. So tell us about you.
Yeah. So my role at first was to just build this. You know, I was having fun doing what I was loving to do again. You know, we never thought it would get to this. I mean, we certainly just were having a good time, right? I mean, we didn't build this with money in mind. We didn't build the last project with money in mind. I mean, you go through our messages and what we were talking about, that wasn't at all what Stanford and I talked about. I can't even remember one time that we talked about money. So first thing. The second thing is, right now, I think it's important to say, I'm going to fall back a little bit because, you know, this is shifting into areas that I'm not comfortable being in right now. You know.
And what areas are those?
So when you start talking about cryptocurrency, okay, you know, I start to say, well, cryptocurrency and I had a pretty bad divorce, okay, and you know, it wasn't the funnest experience for me personally. Although I advocate for it and I know that we need it, it's not in the best interest of the platform that I have anything to do with its development. It's fine, but with, you know, creating some sort of a strategy or plan to grow anything in regards to that is not. So, you know, I'm kind of backing away from that sector, you know, and I've become so familiar with DATS software. I really enjoy just working on the protocol side, right? And the browser and the social network and stuff like that. So I'm going to kind of stick there. Now, we have guys who we're bringing in. We have a guy named Quinn who's been with us even since the Arise days. Obviously, Michael, you know, Michael and Stan are heavily involved in the crypto side. So we're going to have devs that are going to begin the process. I mean, what you love about STEEMIT and DTube. DVideo is actually a fork of DTube, except for the fact that we have removed IPFS and we have added dWeb, right? So not only have we done that, but you can view it on the dWeb as well. So, you know, we use it for files, and then we also use it for the actual DApp itself. And so
put that in layman's terms for me.
Yeah. So in other words, there's a difference between a regular website and a distributed website, okay? The difference is a dynamic website over HTTP typically uses some sort of centralized database, right? That app itself cannot go to the distributed web because, of course, you've probably got passwords and all kinds of stuff in that database there. And plus, it's not built to do that, right? That database has to be distributed around in some form or fashion. If you go to the URL, if you have dBrowser open, if you go to, there's a button there that says copy dstatus URL. If you click that and you paste it in your browser, you'll see JSON files that have all of the data from your profile, your picture, your post, the people who have liked your post, and they're all in separate files, right? And so it's a distributed form of a log or a database. Because remember, because of the ownership, the way that we're building the network out, you don't have usernames and passwords. When you go in, if you notice, you have keys, right, that are actually in the folder that you're in. dBrowser has a built-in repository, you know, where you have all of your different D sites and dApps or databases, right? And so when you import those databases, these dApps are written rather to know whether you are the creator or if you are just simply a peer of that content, right? So, you know, anybody could fork your profile. They could go on there and fork it right now, but they can't do anything with it. You see?
So they fork it means that they can.
forking a profile is not going to get you anywhere because you don't have the master keys for it, right? But like, let's say it's a D site or a DApp, for instance. I could actually fork your website. I could do it right. If you had your website up, I could go up and click fork and get all the files and then resync it on my own domain within seconds.
But I don't know what fork is.
Copy, clone.
Oh, thank you. All right. Woo, that does it for me. Holy
So-
cow. What is that? That sounds horrible. I don't want them doing that, right? Okay, yeah, fork me, fork you. You know, that's not cool. So when he says some of these words, like dBrowsers, like the Google, those are the search engines.
Well, dBrowsers are web browsers.
I'm sorry,
And
they're
so
web
then-
browsers. I'm sorry, yeah.
Yep. And then dWeb is the protocol. dStatus is like our version of Twitter.
Right.
We
And
also have
It's like your status. I think that
Right.
was right when you said that, your status. Then it's like, oh, my status. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and then we have dsocial, which is like a Facebook. We're a ways out on that, probably like a month, maybe a little less than a month. Then we have dTunes, which is like Spotify, but it's distributed, and so we're trying to get artists to get on there.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's gonna be cool.
We're talking to, and you know, I spent a large part of my career in the hip hop industry, so I know a lot of people there. So we're talking to people there, and then we've got so many developer tools. I mean, it's crazy. Then you've got de-hosting, right? Which is when you, let's say, Connie, you build a D site tonight, right? Just kind of messing around. When you build it, you have no peers until you can get somebody to go in and peer it for you. Well, most of the time, I can tell you, people are going to have a hard time doing that. That's the downside of the dWeb. Well, we've created a service called de-hosting. So, you know, people want to see how is Jared making money. So we have a service called de-hosting, which is $10 a month, okay? And it's basically a peering service. And so you're paying us for peering that site for you amongst all of our nodes so that people can, it's kind of a different kind of hosting, but it's not where you have to have like $1,000 in servers. That $10 is all you're going to ever have to pay if that's really what you want, right? A permanent peering service. So de-hosting is going to launch Friday. We're working out some stuff there, and we'll have that up. And so, you know, when you launch a D site or a DApp, you have that option. Then, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, are you going to have advertisements on there? When you were talking about money, I thought, how do you make money? How are you making money off this? I know you're not doing it out of your love that you have for everybody. I know it's big. You got a big heart.
Well,
but.
I'm doing this because it's personal. But obviously, you know, I've got kids. I've got a family to support. I've got a lot of stuff in my life that I've put off for, 6 months. And, you know, I've got to be able to take care of my family. But at the end of the day, you know, that's one side. The advertising side is something we're figuring out. So we are building a decentralized advertising network, which by no coincidence to Stan is called Dan, D-A-N. And so we're...
Does Dan know this?
and Dan Larimer's not involved. Dan Larimer's not involved. So we're working on that. That's a ways out. I mean, there's a lot of concepts there. It's conceptual right now. To allow advertising in a decentralized way. We've looked at other platforms to do it. It's not decentralized. I mean, again, when we saw DAT's protocol, I was very impressed with a lot of the aspects there, how they were able to completely decentralize nearly, with the exception of a few things that we changed. That protocol. And so we're constantly researching other projects, seeing how other people do it, and things of that sort, because we're not looking at ourselves as like the innovators of it, right? We're looking at ourselves as the best when it comes to marketing to consumers and getting this into the hands of the masses. That's what we wanted to do with Arise, and that's probably what we're going to do here. But, you know, as far as advertising, we're just not to the consumer, like, we don't want to bombard people with advertisements. You understand, like, that's going to drive people away, right?
We don't want you
and
to
so,
either. You know, I thought you might do something like, I really love STEEMIT for that reason. I love that, you know, it works itself out. I mean, I don't know how all that works. I just know that I didn't put any money in, but I do work. I don't have to see commercials and somebody, you know, advertisements of any sort. And then someone, you know, says, oh, I like it. Here's $5, or, you know, here's a nickel, you know, or just, I like it. I don't have anything, but I like it. I like that. I didn't know if you were going to generate anything there. Over in the live chat, people have, and thank you guys for giving us a thumbs up. Please continue to do that, and the upvotes as well on DLive. Thank you. But people have said, okay, so let me just get it straight from some of the questions here. So Bench is not what we had discussed a long time ago. Things develop and things change along the way. So Bench is the name of your company. Then the decentralized internet is what we have. And there was a third thing, and I lost it, you guys. I'm sorry about that. But Bench, and and the fact that you really don't want to use cryptocurrency, so it may not help out the BitShares.
No, we do. So let me go back on that. So what I was saying was, I am personally not going to be involved in any of the cryptocurrency based development any further from today. You know, obviously I've kickstarted it. I've spent a lot of time on it. I'm not going to go any further than it is now. You have defended it. Right. Where we are now is where it gets into territory that I don't want to be involved in personally. But I've gotten it that far and up until this point. So we're going to bring in other developers to work that side. Our network is absolutely, as I stated in our original vision, about people earning money from their content, you know, just like DTunes.
Excellent.
Yes. D-Video is going to be the same way. Obviously, it's a clone of DTube. So, you know, DTube obviously works in that way. So, yes, that's absolutely the focus. The first thing was, let's get this protocol working right?
Yeah.
And we spent weeks and weeks, and we've got guys that have sat here and watched me work for, I have literally, I mean, Stan will tell you, I've got, I think Stan is like, what, 16 people in a room? I've had 16 people in a room watch me work, as witnesses, by the way, on purpose, and built this on a daily basis. And we did that because we knew that they would come out and try to say that, oh, Jared's done this, or Jared hasn't done anything. You know, there's 16 people who will call you a liar to your face. The problem is when we get into the regulatory side of things, where my attorneys, who are great, by the way, and have always given me great advice, have advised me to, you know, stick to the protocol side and stick to the company side. Which is where I'm going to stay. As far as the development of that, so we'll talk about that for a minute. Quinn and I mentioned Quinn earlier. Quinn was our COO at Arise. Quinn has known Stan and Michael longer than I've known Quinn, and has been an advocate for BitShares for a while too. He is going to come in and help us put together developers, like a developer staff, if you will, and begin to build out, you know, really awesome solutions. It's called, I'm going to leave that to other people to do, but it's on its way, and it's very close. And I'll just put it to you this way: there is a blockchain running. It is running right now. It has been running for a month. I think we have surpassed, you know, I can tell you right now, but I think we've surpassed over like 700,000 blocks. It is running smoothly. In fact, it's 590,000 blocks. Sorry. And so that brings me to the third part of this. Stan mentioned his vision for what he called Bench Potion number 9, and has been
great name.
Yeah. Bench Potion number 9. This was
I love it.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of people say, you know, what is that? You know, what does that stand for? What is it? You know, and Stan kind of drops clues here and there. So Bench was mining on a blockchain where you were working with a delegate proof of stake. And, you know, some people say, well, you know, it's not possible. It's this, you know, whatever. Well, it actually has always been possible. We just call it forging. It's a little bit different, but it's about the same thing if you want to get technical. And so forging. We have 51 delegates that have been forging on that chain for, I don't know, Stan, I can't remember how long it's been, probably about a month and a half. And so we just let this thing run, you know, no strings attached, just let it go. And everything works so well. And so, you know, we've got a wallet and a app for that blockchain that is finished. iOS, Android, web, desktop, we've got it all. So, you know, that where it's at right there, that was my job, right? It works. So I'm going to back away now and try to find, with Quinn, some guys who can further that project. We've, in fact, been doing that for about a week now. So we're pretty far along in the process of getting that project. I mean, it's been in the works for a while, Connie. So to kill the confusion, too, because I see you have it, Bench is just the name of the company. It's the overarching company, right? And it's only confusing because there's been so many people talking about it, and you know, I've never had a chance to speak about it really. And so, you know, you have all these theories out here of what this is and what that is. To clear it, Bench is simply like, think of it like Apple, right, of the decentralized world. That's how we like to look at it. You know, they say think differently. We say reinvent yourself.
Ooh,
you know,
I like that.
So
I like that.
Yeah. So you know, we have our own line of products, and you know, we think that our story, you know, which is, I'm not going to say whether it's going to be a movie or not, but I can tell you it's one hell of a story. It's made for TV or made for the theater, and it just might be. But I'll say, you know, we are very proud of our background as to how we created this, right? We're very proud that our story matches our mission and it matches our products and services to a T. Not many companies can come out and say that their mission statement is true, and it's only true because they lived it. We can, and you know, that's. I hope that sticks with us for the remainder of the lifetime of this company, which I hope is forever. But I'll say, you know, Bench is just a company. That's it. You know, it's a mission, it's a slogan, and we have a bunch of products, protocols, you know, community stuff underneath it. But it is not a security. There is no ICO, right? There's no. I mean, let me think of all the words that have been thrown at me. There's no scam. There's no. I don't want anything from you. Or actually, I do. I want people to take their websites that are on the centralized web and take the time. I'm going to release some docs tonight on how to do this. So if you write up some stuff tonight on how to take a WordPress website, which most people have, convert it to a static website, and upload it to the dWeb in under 10 minutes. Okay.
So I can keep it on. I can still keep it on the other,
sure,
like my other servers and that as well. So
sure.
Just, oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
And so, you know, and you can use the same domain, right? So it's really neat.
Okay, but it's going to be like .io or what?
No, you can use whatever you have now.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So the bigger question before, Stan, you say something there, is people are saying, well, how do I start? Where do I go? And those are the links that we'll put down below here once we close out. But how do they start? Where do they go?
So obviously you need dBrowser. Chrome, we do have a Chrome plugin. We do have a Firefox plugin. Firefox deleted it out of their extension store. There's a conspiracy for you. So just remember when you're using Brave browser that they may be big fans of those 20 companies that bring them so much traffic. So just remember who they're with and you know what they stand for. Just because they do an ICO doesn't mean that they love our industry. That just means they wanted to raise some money. You know, that's important. But we've tried to, you know, with Chrome didn't accept it. Firefox accepted it. They just deleted it. You know, I posted in our governance one day, and then I think it was like a day after, one of our guys said, "Hey, it's been deleted." So dBrowser is the solution. So we have our own browser. It's for Mac, Linux, and Windows, and soon to be iOS and Android. We're actually finishing up our iOS version, which is really cool. I actually have it on my phone. So the iOS, Android, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Android's UI, but you know, it almost looks the same, right?
Dude, bring it on for my iPhone and bring it on for my iPad Pro.
The
Come
iOS,
on, hurry up.
the iOS version is really cool. I mean, I really like it. In fact, I mean, I've caught myself. I told myself this thing is not done until I literally delete Chrome off of my computer. Well, as a developer, I probably won't do that, but literally make this my default browser.
Hey, so. Is it going to be on the iWatch?
You know, that would be pretty hard. You know, I guess what you could say is you could have some sort of like, you know, Siri integration. I haven't really researched that at all, so I don't know if that's even possible. But
totally Dick Tracy stuff. Come on, it's got to be Dick Tracy stuff that's decentralized. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see about the watch.
Okay.
But you know, the first mission is, and I'm going to say this. I hope, okay, that, and I'm telling you right now, I hope that Apple and Google do not delete this browser because they see it as a threat to their control system. I obviously have seen this thus far, and it's very ridiculous. And I'm going to say where they're really scared, and you must understand, Amazon makes a lot of their money off of web hosting. They have web hosting services. You may not a lot of consumers don't even know that. They go to Amazon and have no idea that they're selling millions and millions of dollars in web hosting a year. But they are a major they're the biggest cloud hosting company in the world. By far. It's not even close. I mean, Rackspace may be close, but I don't even think that's close. And Google, guess what Google does? Google's a huge cloud hosting platform. Microsoft, what does Microsoft do? Well, they're a huge cloud hosting platform, right? All of these big tech companies, coincidentally, or maybe not, are also big hosting companies. So when you bring on a protocol that allows people to get rid of their hosting, you know, you're posing a massive threat, not to just exposing government corruption or whatever, but you're an absolute financial threat, which is way more important to them, to these big companies. So, you know, that's where you're going to see a lot of kickback. I think they're going to, you know, we're already seeing, I think you said last night that when you downloaded it, it was like, this is a virus or something, or somebody told me that yesterday, or had trouble installing it. I think it was you.
Yeah, I did. That could be a me thing, but I don't think so. No, it led to something else, and I didn't know what to do there. And then I went ahead and clicked it, and it all landed where it was supposed to land. But I didn't know there was a second thing. You had said just push the blue button, but at one point a green button came up. I was like, what do I do? What do I do? You know, because you don't want to mess anything up. People like me, we don't want to mess anything up, and we do when we click something. You know, who knows what we might do? You guys kind of know a little bit better. So when you make it, I mean, it was actually it was easy, actually. I like that I can add colors to it and all sorts of different things. You know what I really like about the dstatus? Now, that's the only one I've played with, but I like that I can put more than just TV host, bluerocktalk, you know, just these. I can put anything I want, as long, I think it's unlimited. I want to do that. Oh my gosh. You know what, too, by the way? My actual brand is bluerocktalk with Connie Willis. I always have to put bluerocktalk somewhere. Not that that's a bad thing, but there's times where it's like, oh, now I got to get the bluerocktalk one and the bluerocktalk with Connie Willis, because that's ways the search engines and things like that work. So you will have search stuff too, right? Where you have a little search engine so we can find things within the dWeb, right?
Yes, yeah. So, you know, we have dExplore, so dExplore.
Oh, okay,
right?
okay, yeah.
Yeah, so dExplore is like the Google of the dWeb. And keep in mind, anybody can come in and create these tools. It's not just me or, you know, whoever. This is a protocol just like HTTP. You could come along and build your own stuff. You could clone what I build, right? I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
That's wild stuff for us people. So it's bluerocktalk with Connie Willis that you're listening to, and this is Crypto Connie Night. Stan, what do you got to say about all this?
I think what people should be looking at right now is the tour de force that Jared has put on, this clinic, if you will. Anybody that is out there spreading FUD about him or his ability to do stuff should be able to tell by just simply listening to the past 2.5 hours of conversation and realize that he's for real. Of course, he was for real at the very beginning when all the fudslingers in our community decided to take him down by giving bad advice and goading the government authorities into attacking him. Okay? And I think one of the things that he set out to do, which I consider to be a very mature response, is to say, oh yeah, I'll show you. Well, this is him showing everybody what he had done and what he's done now and what he could have done for our industry if he hadn't been interfered with when he started 6 months or so ago. So I think that at this point, we've probably exhausted everybody's ability to even take in any more content, but I do think he could keep on going at this pace the rest of the night, because we've watched him do it many times.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's just on automatic pilot. That's what happens. You know, he just gets in that zone. Well, I do know that watching you guys put all this together, and as it changes and blossoms and falls down and wilts and grows again in different ways, it is a joy to watch it. It can be frustrating, annoying, and things, but then who knows what that sculpture is at the end. So we're seeing it now, and now people can actually get interactive with it, and that's really cool. You know, I mean, look where I'm at right now with the fact that, just go back a little bit. Here I am on a YouTube channel. Well, not even that. I'm actually with Wirecast, and I'm going to a streaming service, Switchboard Cloud. And then I'm sending it to YouTube channels, Facebook, DLive, Twitter. But soon, now there's another option. I'm going to be streaming it to there when you set that up. And then who knows if I just get lost in that one, restreaming everything, and a whole new world has just opened up where you would think, well, what are you going to do after Facebook? What are you going to do after, YouTube? dWeb. So thank you, Jared.
I think people, at least half the people in the country that are being picked on by the other half, and this is global as well, are going to see this as a chance to go find sanctuary. And as that happens, what these companies are doing is setting up competitors for themselves. Anytime you try to squeeze too much control, a competitor pops out. And they just generated, in addition to a huge legal liability, a whole bunch of new competitors that half of the world that doesn't like their politics is going to be inclined to move to. And anybody that wants to have a safe place to store their content without it being taken down by arbitrary actions of their competitors is going to say, at the very least, I want to be over there. So they may not leave where they are at right away, but they're going to want to hedge their bet by having all their content backed up where it can't be taken down by arbitrary, nefarious actions.
And because that is on my own computer and everybody else's own computer, do we have to worry about having a lot of storage and bandwidth and stuff like that?
No. Most like dstatus is minified. That's what we call it, where we've taken and software that may have 400 or 500 JavaScript files, right? And we break them all down into one file. And then it may also have maybe 30 or 40 less in CSS files. And we combine all that into one file. So then the app itself is one JavaScript file, one CSS file, and one index.html file, right? And so it's been minified. It's not...
Minified.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
not.
That name.
It's a lot smaller than it was in the beginning, right? It's like creating a zip file and compressing everything within it, but a little bit different.
Smart. It'll be nice on my computer that way. I appreciate that. And you know what? I really do need to back up my stuff on YouTube because, again, somebody had stolen one of my videos. It was one with Stan and I in it, and they put it up as if it was their own. And when I said, hey, wait a minute, whoa, that's my stuff, then they started coming back at me and doing things to where I had strikes on YouTube. You only get 3. And I was looking at it was looking like I was going to lose my videos. And I remember Stan saying, "Download them all." I'm like, I don't. That's a ton of videos to download because you don't realize they're going to be gone. That's not right. I hope there's a clause in the future where you can get your stuff back. But you know, I don't know. Hey, I want to thank both of you guys for being here. Before we go. And thank all the Blue Rockers out there for listening and hanging in there for part 1 and part 2 and all the little noise. And I'm going to tell you, and I know some folks will back me up on this, I've done stories along the way where it's usually when someone finds out something really cool, something really unique, something somebody's been searching for a long time, and you get these technical problems. I got to tell you, I had checked every little thing I had, so maybe I'm wrong, but man, it seemed like all day somebody was trying to shut you guys up. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you. I'm just saying it. And I've seen it before, you know, with UFO conspiracies and things like that. I've seen that before. But anyway, I worked my freaking tail off, and then that noise came through. And you know I did everything. You know it. You know, it's like I'm going crazy. Stan.
Well, I know how you feel, and I know that the first instinct of everybody is to run and hide and say, oh, if they're doing this to the big guys, then they're going to smear me, and I got to run and hide under a rock and never open my mouth again. I would suggest that the biggest favor they could do to you as a small business is to bless you by doing vandalism on your business by shutting it down and doing severe damage to everything you've done. Because guess what? You can go retire from the money you can get from them for the lawsuits for them doing it. So be bold. Get out there and in their face and challenge them. I dare you to delete me. Come on. I'm looking for winning the lottery here. So that's the way I would look at it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you guys all for being here. All you Blue Rockers, from YouTube to DLive to Facebook to all the places you guys have been talking about tonight that people have had trouble with. And now in the future, you have an option, you have a choice, and I will get those links down below as soon as Jerry gets me all of them. It's putting it on Jared. Give me all of them. I'll put them down.
Check your Telegram. I sent it to you.
Okay, cool. All right. I know there's a limited amount of space on there, so and you have unlimited. And I like that. So thank you. That was my point across for that. I'm looking forward.
We're not paying for servers or database space.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I'm looking forward to really getting in there and having fun with it. And I want to get you my stuff because I kept saying to Jared, I want to be first. I want to be first. You want a first in history somewhere. So hopefully it's with dWeb. And thank you for letting us launch it, Jared. We are excited that you came through such a hole, man. You were like thrown in a dungeon and left, And,
I loved it. I mean, look, I'll tell
like
you this.
dungeons, exactly.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. So
give me some bread, a little water, and a computer, baby.
And I hope they appreciate me telling this real quick before we go. But
sure.
In this case, I have not lied, and I will not lie. So, when we were sitting out at the ranch, and we were outside, Mark Rasmussen, the receiver, and some of the SEC guys were standing outside, and they had handed me the court documents, and I looked down at them. And I said, let God be my witness. I said, am I the first person, the first ICO to get sued by you guys? And he said, I think it was Mark maybe that said, I think so. And he's a crypto attorney. So I said, okay. And I said, this is the first case over securities, I think, right? And he said, I'm not sure, but I think so. And I kind of looked down, and then I looked back up and I said, thank you.
Ooh.
And I was going to take that, that day, so, I knew that day I've been through some of the hardest things in life. This was nothing, to me. It was just another, match in the ring. So
I was going to ask you that because of your past that you've told us about before here on Blue Rock Talk with one of the past videos. Just search it here in the videos on YouTube, and I think I also have it on DTube. But you seem to me that you were not afraid. You seem to just take it like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. All right. It was more of a process in your head, and then you just worked through it. Did you have fear? Were you afraid along the way, or did your experience really just set you up for that?
No, really what it is like when you come from a neighborhood like I come from, bad luck becomes like a part of your thinking process. In fact, you really have to teach yourself to stop thinking that way, because you get into this process of, well, nothing ever goes right, or this, oh man, here it goes again, right? So it's having had that so many times that it was like, on this time, I remember calling Stan Ford, who is like a brother to me, and saying, you're not going to believe this. And he said, oh, I know all about it. They just raided the office, and I've been on the phone with Michael, and I've been, and I said, can you believe this? And he said, this is just what happens to us. That was the first thing out of his mouth. And, we're both very used to this. And so, when we came back out, it was like, how do we, it wasn't, oh, we're scared of this, we're scared of that. We knew what our intentions were. Stan and I have been trying so hard for so long to just be successful at something. When you
another
come from
stand.
where
That was another stand, right?
Yeah. Well, now this stand too. So now we're just trying to be successful at something. But that's really all we've ever tried to do. And my mom and dad know that. Everybody around me knows that. If you know me, it's something that I strive to do. And so all this did was it put me in a position where I was already very, very motivated. You got to be very motivated to sit down for a whole year and build a rise and to do what I did with nothing else on your right. I mean, I don't go anywhere. I don't talk to anybody. I don't get out of the same chair for, sometimes a week. And I know some people see I'm up and awake for 2 or 3 days straight.
I'm not sure if you've even been on anything like in between Coast and here. Were you on any other shows in between? You were kind of.
No. I think I was, well, when I got into the case, it took a lot of my time because, they wanted me to assist in all kinds of other things. Well, I mean,
no, I would think it'd be cool to be quiet.
Yeah. I mean, I was quiet too. I mean, any attorney obviously advises you to do so. And the case is still ongoing. It's not that I'm fearful of, saying something. I mean, all I have on my mind is good things, right? I mean, look, I'm happy to be alive, and I don't think a lot of people can say that, but where I come from, I'm happy that I woke up today. I'm happy I have the ability to do what I do every day. My son's with me. I've got a good life, regardless if I have any money. I mean, we've had I told my mom today, we've had a blast the last 6 months.
Well, Jared, really it's only just beginning. It's only just beginning. You have started something that you've got a long journey ahead of you, and we hope that you stay with us here on Blue Rock Talk and keep us informed. And I'm looking forward to the ride with you.
It's going to be fun, I mean, but we're still, hey, keep in mind, it's not over yet, right? Wow. This is just getting started, but I will throw this in. There is if anybody gets any ideas, there is no way to stop what we have done. I have purposely handed this out to many, 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 many people over the last month. Things are distributed. It's peered all over the world. There is no way to destroy it. So I would rather have a conversation that can lead to some sort of change or some sort of help towards others instead of, lies being spread and things of that sort. I'm tired of that. I mean, I'm not even going to hear it. Right. I want to spend our time. If you want to come to us, if you want to talk about us, talk about how you can get involved in helping other people. Cause that's what we do every day. Right. So that's all we're interested in.
I'm looking forward to the positiveness of it. I know it's way more than freedom of speech. I know just only because of the things that are going on right now, that was really good timing for you to come
God.
out with this. You know, it was like, what? It was all perfect. No, there's no coincidences, right? And so, you know, I wish the best for you on this, and so happy that we were able to do something here on Blue Rock Talk. I think that's great, and I wish you the best. We're going to be, you know, I'm going to be bugging you on Telegram and everything. What do I do? What button do I push now, Jared?
Bug me anytime.
I will. Thank you. So one last word from both of you guys. One word. How do you describe dWeb in one word, Jared?
Freedom.
And Stan the man.
Freedom.
Stan the man, Larimer, and I guess something called Dan coming in the future, and also Jared Rice Sr. of course, dWeb, which has launched tonight and coming up on midnight Central Time too. So thanks, you guys. Thanks for being a part of Blue Rock Talk and Crypto Connie. So we're going to say to those guys, say goodbye to those guys. And you guys out there too, Blue Rockers, thank you so much for hanging in there for part 2 and refreshing and listening into these guys. I know that there was so much conversation. I got a few of your questions out, but you know what? There's going to be more to come for sure. There's a lot to do, and I'm sure a whole lot of PR is going to be heard along the way with this. So that's cool. That's cool. While you're here, hit that like button. Thank you for those that are in the YouTube chat and the DLive chat. Also on Facebook, I'll definitely be checking you guys later. It's just so much to do. So thanks, and we will have more here on Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. You guys have a safe and happy rest of the night. We'll be talking to you once again, as we always do. Keep it real, folks. Keep it real.